Hello, everyone. It is Monday afternoon, and it is time for our next author chat. I am your host, Dr. DeAndrea Matthews, the founder and CEO of Aldin Publications. Welcome to our author chat today. I have with me in the studio author Denise Crumbey, and we're going to just have some fun talking about her book chapter, talking about her debut book, and just some other topics that she's dealt with as a writer. So, Denise, go ahead and tell everyone hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm glad that you are with us today to talk about the new anthology, Overcomers. And I can't wait to see who will be participating with the second volume of Overcomers. I tell you, it will truly bless your soul, your spirit, and your mind, and it will push you in every way. So I'm so happy to be here.
All right, that's wonderful. So I want to go ahead and read a little bit of Denise's bio. So for those of you who are meeting her for the first time, I just want to let you know a little bit about this co-author. So through her creative pen, author Denise Crumbey navigates the storms of life. This parent advocate details her journey of finding strength and discovering her voice to overcome generational struggles. This native Detroiter connects with readers on an emotional level while learning to forgive herself and move towards a better future. So, Denise, why don't we start by you telling us really where your inspiration to write comes from? Because I was absolutely blown away the first time I read your writing. I love your poetry. And quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of poetry. I like nonfiction. I get into fiction a little bit. I got some favorite authors, but I was blown away because of the emotion and the passion that we read in your work. So tell us where you get a little bit of that inspiration from.
Okay, no problem. Since I was a little girl, I used to love to write. What I started off doing journaling. Somebody told me that, when you're going through things and you don't have anyone to talk to, or you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, you should start journaling. So I started journaling when I was a little girl, and then I kind of got away from it. And then when I became older and I started going through some of the things that you'll read about in the Overcomer Anthology, I started to do poetry again. And that poetry was very therapeutic for me. It gave me a sense of release, a place where I was safe to actually honestly put down the things that I was going through, the experiences, the feelings, everything without judgment, without anyone looking down at me. And so it became a place of safety, a place of peace, where I can unwind and just really let go and be who I really was through my writing. My writing was like a place of home, a place where I can just be me. So that was my true inspiration, because it allowed me to be my authentic self, like you were saying in your chapter. It allowed me to be me. So that's where my inspiration.
I love that. So, for any young people who are out there who, writing in diaries is kind of old school, but, journaling, I really love the idea of journaling and just jotting down your thoughts. So, there are a lot of young people who may be interested in journaling, who may be interested in, maybe at one point publishing their poetry. But if you had to tell your younger self as a writer something, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self that your voice is beautiful. Don't put a muzzle on your mouth. Don't put a muzzle on your thoughts. Don't put a muzzle on your heart and your emotions. Stay true to who you are, and stay true to who you are as a writer.
Love that. Don't muzzle your thoughts. All right, that's powerful. So, as an author, now you have not only your debut book, which was a wonderful poetry book, but now you have this what I call a sophomore publication, the Overcomers Anthology Volume 1. What do you think has been your biggest win as an author?
Oh gosh, my biggest win is finishing. Honestly, it's finishing. It was a battle. Um, Writing this, I know it's only a chapter, I get it, but for me, that chapter was like 5 years. It's very hard to be vulnerable and tell people your truth about your story and what really happened, because sometimes, a lot of times, people are judgmental, or they may not completely understand. So it's always a risk of sharing that part of you and sharing the intimate parts that no one knows about. And you're taking a risk of it being exposed. So just finishing, because I'm the type of person that would pick up a book, read a chapter, and then 2 years later still be on chapter 2.
Yes.
So the chapter was a very big accomplishment for me.
Excellent, excellent. So that's a really good point that you made as far as finishing, because so many people that I've talked to have started on books, have started on manuscripts or poetry or stories or whatever they may have wanted to start writing, and they have not finished. So for anybody out there, it is a push to get finished, but we have some great authors who've made it across that finish line. Tell us what we can expect in the future from you. I know we got a lot to still talk about, but what are some future projects that you're working on now that you've gotten the first poetry book done, now that you've told, again, a very vulnerable, intimate story as far as things that you've overcome? What can we expect next from you?
Well, listen, when you read my chapter in the Overcomers Anthology, that'll give you a little taste of my next book. I talk a little bit about the struggles that I went through having a son of special needs and being a single mother of 4 children. At the time, I was a single mother of 4 children. So if you want to hear the harrowing stories and adventures that I took down that path, the trials and the heartbreak and all of the difficult experiences of being a single mother of a special needs child and being a single mother of 4 children, you won't want to miss my second book, because
All
that's what it's
right.
going to be about.
Wonderful, wonderful. So there's a quick teaser. There's lots to come still from author Denise Crumbey. If you want to follow her and you want to find out more about what projects she has coming up, I'm going to go ahead and drop her author page in the comments so that you can go over, like her page, follow her page, so that you can find out more about Denise Crumbey and the projects that she's working on. So I want to go back for just a second because you mentioned a couple important things. I want to emphasize that for anyone who is thinking about either being a part of the Overcomers Anthology Volume 2, or if you're thinking about writing your own book, there is something that's different between being transparent and being vulnerable. So being transparent means, okay, yep, I'll give you a sneak peek. I'll show you a little bit of what's going on, and you allow people to see into your life. But when you're vulnerable, you really take them into that moment with you. So as you're reading through, all of the chapters, but especially when it comes to Denise's chapter, as you're reading through that chapter, you're really right there with her. You're walking through the snow as she's pushing the stroller. You are right there in that moment with her. So being vulnerable is a lot different than just being transparent. And then also, so I don't know about anybody else, but I love reading. I've always loved reading, but I do have a huge pile. I see your comment, Auntie Wilma. Have a huge to be read pile. So I always have more books that I'm getting through. So what are some of the books that you're reading right now? Because I know that readers are leaders, and the more you read, the better you write. So what are some of the books you're reading right
Oh
now?
my gosh. Okay. I actually just finished a book called Choosing Forgiveness. And it changed my whole mindset on forgiveness and looking at others through the lenses, looking at other people through their lens. So that's one book I'm reading. I'm working on Fear is a Liar. That's a pretty good read. I am also working on Overcoming. I think it's Overcoming Rejection. That's a couple of books.
All right, good. So we've got a question, and I encourage you, if you have questions as we're going along, either for Denise, for me, or just any question about the anthology, go ahead and drop it in the comments. We'll pull those questions in as we're asking questions and going through our author chat today. All right, so how can we get the book? Okay, I want to let you know first, and then I'll let Denise tell you exactly how you can get it from her. So the paperback is not available online yet. That's very intentional because I want to encourage everyone to contact your favorite co-author to get copies. They will be online in June, but I want everyone to reach out to your favorite co-author to get autographed paperback copies from them. As many of you know, we've had to postpone our official book signing for the Overcomers Anthology. It was supposed to be in April, and then we had the stay-at-home order. It's supposed to be in June, and guess what? The order's been extended, so we're postponing the official book signing. But I want to really encourage everyone to contact Denise, contact again, your favorite co-author to pick up a copy of the book from them. So Denise, tell us how they can get in touch with you if they want to get a copy of the book.
Okay, you can send me a message on Facebook. It's m.me/Denise Crumbey. Again, m.me/Denise Crumbey. You can send me a message and with your information, and then I can send you the information to pay for the book, and you can send me your address, and I can send the book to you.
All right, so make sure you get your address to her. I also put your email in the comments. So if you want to reach out to her by email, if you want to reach out to her via private message, if you have her phone or text, you can do that as well. But let her know so that she can get you a copy of the book. The book retails at $15. So again, reach out to Denise if you want to get your autographed copy of the book. It won't be available on Amazon and other websites in the paperback form until June. So make sure you reach out to Denise if you want to get a copy of the book. All right, so we've been talking about 5 things that you learned about yourself as a co-author in this anthology. Why don't you share with us some of those things that you've learned?
Okay, so one of the things that I learned is that I am an overcomer. I look back at my life, and writing this chapter has allowed me to see myself through the lens of being a successful person. You know, a lot of times the world or society defines success as having a 6-figure job, and you're driving a nice car and living in a beautiful house. And yeah, those things are great, but they lack substance. They lack what life is really about. And when I look back over my life, I realized that some of the things that I faced, a lot of the trials that I faced, and what you will read about in the Overcomers Anthology, get the book, those things allowed me to see myself as an overcomer, allowed me to see myself as being successful and someone who can make it far in life. And I encourage everyone, just look over your life. You are not, and let me make sure that I stress this, you are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the definition of your faults. You are a vision of who you see yourself as. So if you tell yourself that you're a failure, then you will be. But you need to change your perspective. And that's one of the things that I've learned. And another thing that I've learned in writing this book is changing my perspective on who I am as an individual, and not letting others or the titles that other people put on me become who they think I am. Another thing that I've learned, that is the third thing that I've learned, is that it is possible. Anything is possible. For me to complete this chapter, anything is possible, because that, again, like I said, was a battle. My chapter is called Battle of the Mind. And when I tell you, me and myself battled in my mind, that was true to its core of the chapter. So I encourage everyone, really get the book, read my chapter, and also my co-authors, because their chapters are completely amazing. The other thing that I've learned in writing this is, like I just mentioned, reading my co-authors' chapters and being able to see other people's life struggles and what they went through. And it allowed me to be encouraged that I'm not the only one going through this. And definitely, just from me being able to read their chapters, it encouraged me. And so it also inspired me, hey, if their chapters are encouraging me, then maybe my chapters will encourage others.
Very good. That's awesome. So, again, if you are thinking about writing or being a part of the anthology, I want to highlight our co authors, not just so they'll get a chance to talk about their stories and, of course, encourage people to purchase a copy of the book from them, but just the combined experience, the teamwork, working together, and watching everything unfold was just a powerful experience for all of us. So, I know that we came together for a couple sessions, again, the behind the scenes that nobody gets to see when we read each other's chapters and really find out what everyone is talking about, because up until that point, no one knew what anyone else was writing about. So we didn't have a particular theme necessarily. It was just about overcoming. So everyone wrote about their own version of what overcoming meant to them. So talk a little bit more about that experience as a team, getting to know your co-authors and that whole experience of coming together.
Oh wow! It was just so amazing. My co-authors are amazing people who have experienced so many things in their lives, and just being able to sit in amongst a group of people who they have a lot of value. And I tell you, I would encourage anyone. You can tell your story, become an author today. Contact Dr. Matthews at Aldin Publications and join in on the second anthology. Write your story, get your therapy, close that chapter, overcome that fear. You please, because it's a wonderful experience to work with other people and to network. It's another a form of networking as well. So please do that.
Definitely. So writing is therapeutic. That's a part of the reason why I got started writing before I became an author, before I became a publisher. Writing is very therapeutic. And just so that you'll know, we'll have a licensed mental health counselor coming to share with us on the Clear Aldin platform on Wednesday. And for those of you who don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So because we dealt with some deep topics in the Overcomers Anthology, I wanted to bring on a mental health counselor so that she can share with people. I know that's kind of a taboo topic in the Black community in particular, but I wanted to bring on a mental health counselor to, just kind of give her thoughts on some of the topics that we dealt with. So that's Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So we check the page. We'll be going live on Wednesday with our mental health counselor. But in your book, you talked about motherhood. You talked about the difficulty of when you were a single parent. Share again just some nuggets as far as what you want other people to know about that struggle and about overcoming.
Um, a lot of my struggle was within. Uh, I went through a very difficult divorce, and through that, I became very depressed. And since we're talking about mental health, I would encourage anyone, please do, if you are dealing with mental health, please do tune in on Wednesday. I promise you it will bless you. And in the Black community, often we do not talk about mental health a lot, and it's kind of shunned. Depression is looked down upon, and you're looked at as being selfish when you're having thoughts about committing suicide and when you're in that place. And so many times in my walk as a mother and motherhood, as a wife and those different things, I struggled with those very things of having thoughts of killing myself, not feeling like I was good enough, not feeling like I was worthy of being a mother, not feeling like I was worthy of being a wife, not feeling like I was worthy of even existing. And I tell you, it's a very serious thing. So please, if you are one that is kind of downcast in it, don't. Read up on it, look into it, because it's very serious. And sometimes you never know what your words will do to a person. To call someone selfish because they have children and they're thinking about ending their life. That's a little, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of cold hearted for me. People did say that to me without understanding where I was in life. And to get back to your question, what I would tell that person out there, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not a freak. You're not you're normal. It's normal. It's an whatever, whether it's a chemical imbalance, whether it's situational depression. These are things that people actually go through, and you should never be made to feel like you're less than a person because you're experiencing these things.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. For those of you just joining us, you can get in touch with Denise. Her email is in the comments. You can reach out to her in a private message. If you want to get a copy of the book, this is the time to reach out to Denise, reach out to your favorite co-author to purchase a copy of the paperback. It's only $15. You can get your autographed copy before anyone else, before it goes live on Amazon. So make sure you reach out to her to get a copy of that. We've got another question. So the question is, with everything that you went through and have overcome, what advice do you have for others, especially in this pandemic?
Okay. The advice that I have for others is, listen, just because someone assigns you a role, it doesn't mean that you have to take it. You don't have to take that role. Another thing that I would like to say is, don't let the script written by others dictate your life or moral character. Don't let others dictate who you are. Go off script, right? Go off script. Change your perspective. Become the author in your story instead of letting others write it for you. Find that blank page and rewrite your own story. You do not have to be what others say you are or what you say you are. You can change your thoughts. And as an overcomer, and you are an overcomer, you have the ability to do that. So I encourage everyone out here. This pandemic it's like a wake-up call for those of you who have not been living your life the way that you would like to, or for those of you who are dealing with fear of success, fear of failure. This is your opportunity to start over. Write your chapter, rewrite it, rewrite it. You don't have to live the life that others give you. You don't have to live the life that you give yourself. You can redefine who you are.
Definitely, definitely. All right. So make sure that you are asking any questions that you have for author Denise Crumbey. Drop those in the comments so we can get those answered while we're on the live stream. If this is blessing you so far, if you're learning something, if you're growing, share this broadcast with somebody else who may need to hear that they can write their own story. They can be the author of their own story. They are an overcomer. They matter. Again, some of the things that you talked about, Denise, you talked about the labels, you talked about the again, things that people said, how critical they were, other things. So, in what ways do you think that you needed to change in order to accomplish just completing the chapter? We already talked about how difficult it was just to get to the finish line and complete it, but in what ways did you need to change? And you just mentioned about that internal voice. What ways did you need to change in order to get this done?
So you talked about uh, roles, right? I'm sorry, can you?
We talked about labels. We talked about that internal voice. Yep.
That's what I'm looking for. You talked about labels, and the place that I needed to get to was erasing the labels that people put on me. Um, Being a single mother of 4 children, a lot of times, like if you get pregnant, a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're going to be a statistic. You're just like these statistics out here. You're not going to be anything. If you cheated on your husband, you're a cheater. You're this, you're that." And what I had to do, which was a very difficult thing, was to erase all of those things that I was hearing from other people, all of those labels. And then I was internalizing those things. So I had to then transform my thought process to believe that I was an overcomer and to actually start um, taking that on full-heartedly, that belief system. So you definitely have to change your belief system about yourself. Nobody's going to do that for you. That's something that you definitely have to do on your own, and only you can do that. And because once you change that about yourself, it won't matter what anyone else says because you know who you are.
That's right. That's good advice. That's really good advice. We got another question. How do you balance your time? So let me just say, for those of you who are watching, Denise and I share a few things in common. I know I am the biological mother of five, and I have three bonus children. Tell us a little bit about your family and how you balance your time working, writing, going to school, being a mom, being a wife. Tell us how you balance your time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I remarried to a wonderful man. His name is Irel Crumbey III. And with him came my beautiful children, Olivia and Chris. And I have altogether 7 children: Jada, Jediah, Janae, Jeremiah, Jalen, Christian, Olivia. So balancing time is definitely a juggling act. I have 2 high schoolers, 2 middle schoolers, and 2 elementary, and then of course the toddler. And trying to do, I don't even know what to tell you. Honestly, I have a great support system. I just have to tell you that. My family, they're great. They help me out whenever they can, even though they have busy lives. My husband, let me tell you, that man, I love him. I love him. I love him because we work together as a unit. Honestly, I have to tell you, we work together as a team and as a unit to get stuff done. All the sports practices and games, all the plays and the extracurricular activities. It's definitely a team effort. And I have a great support system. As a single mother, it was difficult, but I couldn't even tell you. I'm just going to be honest. I just did it, I just did it. So
I can relate to that. I can certainly relate to that. And even though my children are adults now, thank you, Jesus. I remember just, having the small ones in the house and trying to do everything. So it is a balancing act. And even now, looking back on it, I can't tell you how I did it either. So for those of you looking for some advice on motherhood, that'll probably be another talk for another day. We just make it happen. All right. So again, what has been the best part of participating in this anthology for you?
Oh, the best part is refinding my voice. And I am an advocate of recapturing your voice. That's just me. For us, a lot of women out there who struggle with that, who maybe don't know their own identity, don't know who they are. Sometimes you live your life through your children, right? Us as mothers, that's what we do. We live our life through our children. And what happens is our children become who we are. Our husbands become who we are, but we forget who we are in the process. So one of the great things about this process in writing this chapter is being able to, through my story, and it's funny because it's like someone else was telling my story, but it was really me, and being able to find me in that and find my voice and find my strength again and my courage and my will to go on and survive. So that's one of the things.
All right. So tell us again how people can get in touch with you. And while she's doing that, if you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the comments so we can ask Denise while we are here live. But how can people get in touch with you? Tell us again how they can get in touch with you and where they can get a copy of the paperback from you.
Okay. So you can get in touch with me through email, denisecrumbey@gmail.com. Very simple, Denise Crumbey, DENISE, Crumbey, CRUMBEY @gmail.com. Or you can get in contact with me on Facebook. You can send me a personal message at m.me/Denise Crumbey, m.me/Denise Crumbey.
All right. So we have her email address. We have her author page. I encourage you to go over, follow her author page, like so that you'll be updated anytime she is sharing something new on the page. Again, I encourage all of the co-authors to promote their own work, talk about the types of things that you're doing. Going back for just a moment to your debut book, which was The Sound of My Pain. Tell us if you have a favorite poem in that book. Tell us what that poem is about and why that would be your favorite.
My favorite poem is the poem that started everything. It's called 9 Months in the Making. And at that time, I was going through my divorce, and I was dealing with an individual who I thought loved me. And what ended up happening is he pretty much abandoned me and my children. So 9 months in the making was just me getting off my chest what I couldn't say to him in his face. And it was just me saying, um, even though you've done this, I'm still here. I'm still strong. I'm still um, moving forward in life. So that has to be one of my favorites because it was the start of me writing again. It was the start of me expressing my feelings through poetry.
Good, good. Again, if you have not read Denise's work, oh my goodness, I hope that you will share an excerpt on your page. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you're prepared to read one of the poems or anything, not today, but I hope that you'll share
Okay.
an excerpt. Good. All right. So I hope you'll share an excerpt on your author page. I hope that you will go live a few more times to let people hear your voice reading your poetry. But if you have not read her work, oh my goodness, she is such a wordsmith, a literary genius when it comes to poetry. So if you have your book and you want to share a poem, go right ahead. Tell us what the title is, and the floor is yours.
All right. I am going to read um, Stricken.
Okay.
Okay. A, for, a forbidden fruit once desirable, now spoiled and rotten. Who will want me now? Infected and rejected, imperfections, a defect, product of mishandling. Who will want me now? Growth stunted, picked before my time of ripening. What do I have to give? For it is hopeless. What do I have left to offer? My time has been taken from me, my ability to love stolen. All that remains of my flesh is the pit, which no one wants to plant, nurture, and rebuild. Who will love me now? Now that this parasite has invaded my core and tainted me, should I give up hope or just lay in my dreams of being loved once more? Signed, Stricken.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. I don't see any more questions. So I want to ask you if you have any final thoughts. I think that poem Stricken is an excellent way to close out our live stream today. But any final thoughts from you?
Yes, I want to say you may not be able to control your storm, but you can control how you walk in it. And I want you to understand that you may not have control of your environment. You may not have control of the way that your life turns out. Maybe some of your decisions have led to other things, but you still have control of how you handle it and how you walk in that storm and in that rain. And let me just say, every successful person in life has failed at some point. So even if you have failed at different things, or you feel like you're a failure as a mother, feel like you're a failure as a wife or as a person, as a friend, remember, every successful person has failure. There's no one that's exempt from that. But how you choose to get up from that is what determines the course of your life from this point on.
All
You
right.
too
Very
are
good.
an overcomer.
Thank you so much. All right. If anyone else has a question, if I missed your question, go ahead and drop it back in the comments so we can make sure that we ask all your questions while we are on the live stream. All right. So this says, share with us how you saw others through your pain and how it affected how you treated them, and ultimately how it affected your children. Did this play a part in igniting your decision to come out of the place you were in? So I'm going to read that again. I know it's a lot. All right. So share with our audience first how you saw yourself through your pain and how it affected them and ultimately your children. Let's take that part first. So, how did you see yourself through your pain?
How did I see myself through my pain?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I saw myself through my pain in the beginning as a failure. So when I talk about feeling like a failure, I know what I'm talking about. So I saw myself as a failure, and throughout the course of writing this chapter, I then saw myself as someone who has been succeeding all of my life. I just didn't realize it.
Wow. All right. So the second part of that question, let's go back to it. The second part is, did that play a part in igniting your decision to come out of the place you were in? So did what you just say about how you saw yourself through your pain, did that play a part in igniting your decision to come out of the place you were in?
Definitely. You never look at yourself as being part of the reason why you're in the place that you're in. You don't look at yourself as that. You don't say, oh, I'm in this spot because of me. No, you look at it and you blame other people. You have the victim mentality, as my mother would call it. My mother would always tell me, when are you going to stop being the victim? I didn't understand what she was saying. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not the victim. They did this to me. You know, this person did this and that person did that. I was living in a lot of unforgiveness. So first of all, I had to forgive the others, people who done it to me. Then I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself, and forgiving myself was one of the hardest things that I could do. And seeing myself and seeing where I played a role in my own demise helped me to get up out of this place that I was in, taking ownership of my actions and not just blaming other people.
Okay. I'm going back to that question because it actually said share how you saw others through your
Oh,
pain. So I know you've talked
okay.
about how you saw yourself, which is great,
Mhm.
how it affected, everyone around you, particularly your children. But how did you see others through your pain? We know that hurting people tend to hurt other people. So how did you see others through your pain?
Um, I was actually more merciful, I extended more grace because of what I went through. I did not want others to go through what I went through. And so I think it's very important for everyone to um, be more considerate of where people are, give more empathy, because that was one of the things in my pain that I wanted others to have for me, is more empathy. And some people didn't. Some people turned their backs on me and left me in my most vulnerable moments and when I needed them the most. And so I would just say that was one of the things that I did, was I was more empathetic to people, more understanding. I was a listening ear. A lot of people need someone to talk to. They don't need someone to talk to them.
Right.
They need to talk to someone and for someone to listen. And because of what I went through, I was able to understand that aspect of it. So when people come and talk to me, I'm more so of a listening ear. I provide empathy. I don't try to judge, because when I was going through my situation, I hated being judged. And
Mhm.
so those are the things that that sometimes we miss out on.
Look, that's powerful because for you to go through what you've been through and then to be in a position where you can offer empathy to other people, that is huge growth. That's huge maturity. So hats off to you. Thank you again for joining us on the live stream today. Just again, any final thoughts? Let people know again how to connect with you, how to get a copy of the anthology.
Thank you for having me. I just have to say that thank you for doing this interview and taking me out of my comfort zone. You can get in contact with me at denisecrumbey@gmail.com, denisecrumbey@gmail.com, or you can find my Facebook page. That's fb.me/Denise Crumbey. And the last thing I would like to say is people always expect perfection, but you have to realize you are not perfect. And that's what you have to remember. As a mother, you are not perfect. As my mother would say, there is no manuals that come with motherhood.
At
So
all.
you're going to make mistakes, you know, but you have to love yourself through it. Love yourself and understand that in life, you're going to make mistakes, but it's okay.
That's
It's
right.
okay. You're not perfect.
That's right. So you have to actually forgive yourself as a part of that
Yes.
process. I do have one other question. I do want to um, find out from you what you would let other people know, because we will be launching volume 2 of the Overcomers Anthology. So for anyone who's thinking about, okay, hey, I want to be a published author, or I have something I want to share, volume 2 of the Overcomers Anthology is dealing with overcoming fear. We know that fear cripples a lot of people. Fear impacts your lives in so many different ways. So we want to make sure that we give that opportunity, we extend the opportunity to anyone who wants to be a part of the anthology. So with that in mind, what would you share with somebody who's considering being a co-author in volume 2 of the Overcomers Anthology?
I would say you better do it, girl or sir. Do it. No, seriously. It's the best thing I think that you can do for yourself. It's the best gift that you can give yourself, because in that process of writing, you find your healing and you actually realize all of the instances where you've overcome that thing. And this instance, overcoming fear. There's a lot of circumstances in our lives that we kind of overlook, or we kind of wash over it, not realizing that these are the very things that give us character, and these are the very things that push us, and these are the very things that make us successful in life. So please, please, if you don't do anything else, contact Dr. Matthews at Claire Aldin Publications. Contact her, sign up for the Overcomers Anthology, and overcome that fear in your life. If you are suffering with fear, listen, I promise you, writing the chapter will help you get over it. Okay. I'm just being 100% honest with you.
Yes. So for anyone who wants to be a part of the Overcomers Anthology, it's not officially launching to the public until June 1st, but you can reach out to me, send me an email at info@clairealdin.com. I'll get you that information. Yes, there is an investment involved because, of course, we have to pay for the professional editing. We have to pay for different aspects of the publishing process itself, but it's a small investment in comparison to all that you receive as a part of being an anthology co-author. So if you want to be a part of the Overcomers Anthology, volume 2 is dealing with overcoming fear. You can email me directly, info@clairealdin.com, or you can just reach out to me, send me a private message, and I'll send you that information so that you can find out more about being a co-author yourself. Thank you again, Denise. Thank you so much for coming on, allowing me to interview you. I know I can be a taskmaster sometimes, like, look, y'all need to get it together. We got to promote this. So thank you for listening to me and for all the pushing that I did to get you out of your comfort zone. Very proud of who you've become. Absolutely agree with all of the comments. You have grown and matured by leaps and bounds. And again, you give sound biblical advice, like Naomi said. You have offered other people empathy. So where you are right now is a beautiful place. Go follow her. Share this broadcast. Let somebody know that they too can be an overcomer. Let somebody know about Denise's story so they too can get a copy of the anthology. We're all very proud of you. Thank you for being here today, and we'll talk with you soon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.